Greetings all and welcome to the session on interview essentials today. Now in this session today we are going to look at those few select questions which can result in the selection or rejection of your candidature with a certain recruiter or in a company. Now apart from the regular questions on say domain knowledge, role specifications, role responsibilities, which may vary from person to person, company to company, role to role, profile to profile, there are these few select questions which are expected to be answered very cautiously and with a lot of responsibility and ownership. Now, what are these few select pertinent questions, 3 to be precise, which I plan to take up in the session today? Please remember that I call them routine and yet important because if not answered well, they always have a tendency to put us in a kind of a back foot or possibly you are in some kind of a longing discomfort. They may also leave us red-faced as if caught with our pants down, or possibly directly lead to the rejection of our candidature for the rest of the interview. Hence, facing them with a little ownership and a little confidence can be the icing on the cake as far as your interview score sheet performance goes. Now, without much ado, let us dive into the first one. The first question for today's session. Tell me something about yourself. Now, friends, this is please remember a very favorite question of most of the recruiters. Tell me something about yourself. In order to face this question successfully and effectively, here are a few tips that you need to remember before going for the interview. Take a jotting pad and paper and ensure that you write down everything that you are as a person with your strengths and role responsibilities and contributions to your current job, or possibly for a fresher, his or her past educational background. And please remember, when this happens to be your first interview, you need to remember to write the JD of the job you've applied for and understand its detailed nuances thoroughly, so that you are able to identify areas where the JD of your current job and the job that you're applying for can be blended and value additions identified separately. Hope you get that. Now you need to pen down these details very clearly before going for the interview or preparing yourself to answer this particular question. Alright, now once this is done, you're ready to face the question. Now there are very different reasons why this question seems to be one of the most favorite questions of the recruiters or with the companies. Why do you think this is one of the favorite questions? Maybe the interviewer would like to know whether you are an excellent fit for the job. It could be also to break ice between you and the interviewer so that you are more settled to carry on for the rest of the interview with ease and comfort. It may also be to set the ball rolling for the rest of the interview duration so that you have some beginning to a certain part of the conversation regarding the interview. What value would you add to the company or to your profile or to your forthcoming role is what the interviewer would like to know when he or she would ask you this question. Especially when the company is investing its manpower, its time, its efforts in trying to know you as a person. Lastly, but most importantly, my dear friends, this question is often asked to know what you would mean to the company going forward. What is the ideal body language here? Remember, this calls for a very positive body language like a direct eye contact, genuineness in the words and feel, and that added flavor of confidence as you speak. Most importantly, be natural. Remember not to be too pompous. Use too many superlatives for yourself, nor be too plastic, mechanic or robotic in the way you speak. This is that best moment to present your best self to the interviewer in your way, your style. Remember, the comfort which settles in brings in a much more stronger connect between you and the recruiter. To sum up, it's like one of those gentlemen who was aptly quoting, going on your first date. Yeah, that's it. How would you go on your first date? You're well dressed. You remember to put on your best to the partner, right? In order to leave a very lasting and very impressive impression about you. Facing this question is one of those moments where you would like to put your best to the company or to the recruiter. Now here is a small sample in which we can begin this. Start by introducing yourself. Say for example, hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it may be. I'm Susan. I've been raised in Delhi and I have been residing in Mumbai for the last few years. Mentioning the major part of the living years in a certain place. Or possibly, hi, I'm Susan. I have been raised in Sydney, Australia, and I have been of late working in Queensland. Whatever would have been your background, you need to introduce yourself with possibly starting with your school or your graduation if you're a fresher, and for working professionals, coming very quickly down with a brief one-liner on your education to your first job to your current one. And so on and so forth, you continue as far as your initial part of the introduction is concerned. Now, one small alert here. Please remember, this question is not about your life story or any of your too personal background. So the information on your family background, say hobbies, pets, etc. can be shared in a very brief manner in case you are exclusively questioned on it. Friends, what matters here most is what you are as a person on the professional front, your formal role. Tell me something about yourself. You need to elaborate with the professional front, including your relevant, significant and noteworthy contributions, accomplishments, achievements, stating and supporting them with the right examples. Say for example, you are already certified in a certain program or in a certain skill. So how did you use the skill in your current job to add value to the job that you are already doing? Say for example, many of us may get additional certifications in Lean Six Sigma or SAP or psychometric tools. How has this added to saving man hours in our job? What was the ROI? So those precise figures and numbers matter a lot. What were the timelines? Were they managed better after your training program or after your certification? Did the quality of the output improve? In short, how has these certifications or trainings helped you in making your job more meaningful and engaging is what the recruiter is looking at. And finally, towards the last part of the answer, you should preferably end with what value this adds to your current job description and to the company as a potential candidate. In short, this is the best time, my dear friends, to answer this question to the interviewer in your way, your style. All the USPs of your personality to be put forth while answering this question. Now, how does answering this question well help the candidate? Oh, many ways. It helps to make the first impression about the candidate to the recruiter, number one. It also helps the candidate land up for the right job he or she actually deserves as per his skills or talents. It often leaves an impression on the recruiter when, if not selected, he or she would remember to keep your profile in their systems so that at some time in the future, based on this reply of yours, your candidature may move forward for a potential future vacancy. Remember, after seeing you in your resume, this is the first ever face you show to your recruiter, a direct encounter with your recruiter. Your answers will determine the first you as a candidate to the interviewer. Your credentials and most importantly, attitude. Attitude, capital and bold, is what matters to the interviewer as you answer this question. the attitude displayed while speaking about yourself is what will impact your future role and the contribution to the job that you will make going forward. Now let us move on to the next question, which contributes a lot towards your selection or rejection in an interview. And that is, why do you want to leave, or why did you leave your last job, or why would you want to join us? Here, dear friends, please be direct and focus your answer on the future. Commonly across the board, the answers hover around reasons like for more better opportunities, more challenges, etc. Let me help you by giving a few samples of the best answers that you could possibly give if these are the reasons that you're looking out for a new job. You may say, I wanted to experience a new work environment to keep growing. You may say, I wanted to advance my career or explore new avenues of career due to possibly less recognition or no promotions, or not having the expected promotion, etc., or having felt undervalued for my current role and hence looking out for a new position or a new role. To explore new opportunities of the interviewing companies' ongoing product launches. Say, for example, the current company where you've gone for interview is launching a new product or expanding itself in avenues in which you would be interested to contribute in the business, and hence you were looking out to meeting them and exploring a scope of association with them, their new projects, and that is exciting you, and hence you would be interested to be getting associated with them. You may also say, I was hired for a certain role, but over time that changed and I was no longer being given the opportunity to do the work I was interested in. Not finding the right work fulfilling or enjoying my work as much. You could also go on to say, I had been with this company for a certain number of years and learned a lot, but now felt ready to go for a change. You may also go on to say, one of the beautiful reasons which possibly go on with senior level people or people with a lot of work experiences, I re-evaluated my career goals and decided a change was needed. I didn't feel there was enough opportunity for me to grow or advance further in the same role. So I decided I would change to give my best to the next organization that I would be interested to get associated with. I didn't feel the job was using my abilities to the fullest or challenging me enough, and hence a change now. Now friends, these are the varied reasons you may cite while answering this question. Select that which is closest to your reality or most factual in your individual case and state that. Now what about leaving an organization on an unpleasant note, especially if your departure or exit wasn't under the best of circumstances? Sometimes we leave out of choice and often we may not be able to. And God forbid if it is the latter in your case. My advice is, it's always wise to remember the good lessons out of your bad or unpleasant experiences and put them forth to the recruiter accordingly. Wish you all the best for a great performance in this particular question. Now on to the last part of today's session, and also the question which is often taken up by recruiters in the last part of an interview process. The last one, would you like to ask something? Now this question too has a very strong bearing on your selection decision. It's a wonderful opportunity, my dear friends, to express and reveal your future career growth plans to the company. A small tip to face this question in the best way. Time to ring in your jotting pad and pen once more. Thoroughly research the company on its available social media handles like the website, the Facebook page, the Twitter handles, blogs if any, LinkedIn page, etc. that you are going for the interview for. Research and be well informed on its products, its services, its culture, its vision, its mission, the values it has, etc. It would be best if you could get your hands on the CEO's open letter to its shareholders, as this may have a lot of information on the future growth plans of the company, its expansion, its diversification, etc. And jot these down to make the answer to this question more impressive and meaningful. Now, how do we face this question successfully? Would you like to ask something? Equipped with the best information that you have on the company, you may ask these simple and broad questions like, can you elaborate on the role or roles for that matter, say day-to-day responsibilities this position has, or possibly what are the strong indicators of success in this role? Another question could be, can you share some inputs on the company culture? A very important question to know the routine day of an employee in the company. What are the company's goals for the next upcoming year is another question that you may ask. Now, in order to seek more additional information that you're already aware of regarding the products, services, media bites, expansion plans that you would have already read about the company, and you have some queries over there, you may also ask something related to that part of the information on the company. Now, how does these questions help you as a candidate? These questions not only will help you synchronize and validate your researched information on the company, but also in building an impression to the recruiter on your candidature regarding your keen interest to join the company. What you must restrain, my dear friends, from asking are questions which are too personal to the interviewer. Say, for example, something on his personal background or something on her personal background, office gossip, etc. Questions on salary and related benefits. Please remember, this is your first interview, so it's a clear no towards these questions. Questions on what would the employees be engaged in post their working hours. These are questions which are not to be asked. Again, those questions of which answers are clearly available on the social media handles of the company are also not to be asked. Remember to keep this question brief, my dear friends. Making the interviewer talk for hours and hours is not the intention behind this question. At the same time, this question should be able to generate a lot of interest, energy, and enthusiasm in the recruiter to answer. So that's it, folks, for today. We'll come up with more such interesting topics in my next one. Here's wishing each one of you lots of good luck to make that interview a great success. Hope these videos are helping you. Do like and subscribe to my channel and share with all those who are in need of these inputs. Ciao. It's me, Susan, signing off. See you soon.